Community Bulletin Board, live on WBOK 1230 AM. The Community Bulletin Board is sponsored by our friends at the Regional Transit Authority, or as we like to affectionately call them here in New Orleans, the RTA. Thank you, RTA, for sponsoring this informative and important show. I am your host, Samantha Bollier. It is Monday, February the 24th, and we are here in the WBOK studio talking about today. The topic of discussion is the lower Ninth Ward, which seems to be a hot topic these days. And just a couple of weeks ago, we had a lady from the lower Ninth Ward, one of the neighborhood associations, and she had a very great quote about, the way to really judge the recovery of the city is by the Ninth Ward. And I think there's a misconception when folks watch the NBA All-Star and things like that. There's a misconception that New Orleans is 100% back because the French Quarter is intact. And, a lot of uptown neighborhoods are back. But an area that was very harshly hit by Hurricane Katrina is still not back 100%. They're making progress. And here to talk about some of that progress and plans for the lower Ninth Ward, here in the studio today, we have Miss Mary Alexander, Vice President of Business Development and Marketing for Perez Architects. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Samantha. Thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you for joining us. And also joining us is Miss Quan Smith, Development Project Manager for Perez Architects. Hello, Ms. Kwan.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining us on the Community Bulletin Board today to talk about the Lower Ninth Ward. But before we get into the conversation about the development of the Lower Ninth Ward and some of the plans that your firm has, tell us a little bit about your background and what it is that you do. Mary?
Okay, well, as you mentioned, I'm the Vice President of Business Development and Marketing for Perez. I came to New Orleans in 1987 and attended Dillard University, and like many people that come to this town, you grow to love it, and I've stayed. I have about close to 20 years experience in housing and community development. I've worked in city government and then with a state agency, probably one of the largest housing developers in the city, Hano. So worked with those two agencies for many years, and that's been my background.
Okay, nice, great. You're absolutely right. New Orleans has a way of
drawing
sucking people in.
Right.
Yeah. Ms. Kwan, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what it is that you do.
Okay, I'm the Development Project Manager for Perez. I'm an architect and developer. I have a Master's of Sustainable Real Estate Development degree from Tulane University. I also have a Bachelor's of Architecture degree from Southern University out of Baton Rouge. I have years of experience with casino, retail, resort, mixed-use projects in Las Vegas, here in New Orleans. I have a very strong passion for revitalization in low-income to moderate-income neighborhoods. So that's what kind of drew me back to New Orleans, because I believe in the city coming back, and I definitely wanted to be a part of it.
That's fantastic. I've been hearing on WBOK some the radio spots for Perez Architects, and one of the things that the spot mentions is that the company has roots, deep roots here in the city of New Orleans. Can you talk about those roots and the ties that the company has, and where are they headquartered?
Actually, Perez has extremely deep roots in the city of New Orleans. We're a 74-year-old firm. We're headquartered here in New Orleans and have been since our inception in, 1940. We've done a lot of great projects around the city. Many of them are iconic projects. The Piazza d'Italia, for example, downtown, as well as many of the hotels and restaurants around town that folks are familiar with. So we've been involved and continue to be involved in a lot of great projects around the city. We are finishing up a project, the Carver Theater in the 7th Ward. We're also working on a community center in the lower 9th Ward, and various other countless projects that we've done in and around the city of New Orleans for the past 70-plus years.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, there seems to be a lot of discussion right now going on about the plans for the Lower Ninth Ward. And I want you, ladies, to talk a little bit about what it is that Perez Architects is proposing. I mean, what is the issue from your perspective that's on the table for the Ninth Ward?
Okay, Perez plans to redevelop the former Holy Cross High School. The plan is to take the historic school and revitalize it into a mixed-use development project, which is going to have multifamily housing, small neighborhood commercial, as well as like green open space, preserving the trees and what have you.
What about any retail development?
We do have plans for it. Those are still to be worked out, but as of now, it's definitely going to have some form of live-work units, and maybe some small retail development there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And, one of the things, I've been hearing from various folks from the community, directly from residents of the Lower Ninth Ward, and one of the things that, I think a concern is that they'd like to have input in these plans. I mean, as residents of the community, can you talk about, and one of the things that the spot talks about is that you all value that, the community, from the input from the community. Can you talk about how you are connecting with the community? What are the ways in which they can provide input and be in contact with you?
Quan, if you want to talk to what's been happening at Holy Cross, then I'll talk a little bit more about what we're doing, what we've recently started as a means by which to get more collaboration on this project.
Absolutely. From the beginning phase of this project, we have worked hand in hand with the Holy Cross Neighborhood Association. So through multiple meetings, we were able to sit down with their board and work out the details. I mean, this project has pretty much changed, due to the fact that they had their input and they wanted to see what the community wanted. So we went through multiple phases of changing the project so that it fits with what the community was recommending.
And I just kind of wanted to point out as well that pretty much every single project that Perez does, regardless of the role that we play on the project, whether we're the architect or the builder or the developer, there's always an element of collaboration involved. So we're always working with the project stakeholders, whether they're residents or business owners in the area or what have you, in order to further encourage participation from the community on the Holy Cross project. We've recently launched a website at www.reviveLOWER9, that's the number 9.com. And we encourage residents, business owners, and the like to communicate with us about the project through that means.
That's excellent. So there is a website that folks can go to.
Yes.
www.reviveLOWER9, the number 9.com. That's fantastic.
And we also, so we have the Facebook page. We also have a Twitter account. etc.
And how would that be, Revive the Lower 9 as well?
Yes.
Okay. I'm in the studio talking to Ms. Mary Alexander, Vice President of Business Development and Marketing for Perez Architect, and also Ms. Quan Smith, Development Project Manager for Perez Architects. We're here live in the studio, and the number to call in is 504-260-9265. If anyone has any questions or comments, this is it's a very hot topic, and I think the reason why it's all, I've been hearing about it more and more just the last couple of days, is there's a big meeting tomorrow. Can you all tell us a little bit about this meeting that's going on tomorrow, and what is at stake, what is being voted upon on that meeting, like what's the issue on the table?
Sure. Do you want to take that, Clark?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically what we're doing is requesting zoning change from RD-3, which is the two-family residential district, to a C-1A, which is the general commercial district, and also have a mixed-use plan community district overlay. And this only applies to the actual site. The site is approximately 13.23 acres. Of those acres, we actually are going to have 0.5 acres of park space and approximately 6 acres of open green space. And the site is going to have approximately 131 for sale units and approximately 136 units of townhouses and mixed-use units where we would have live work units for those who may want to, let's say you're an attorney, or let's say you're, I don't know, maybe you have a small business, but you want to live and work in the same unit, and you would have that option. We also are, like I said, we're going to restore the administration building, which is approximately 48,000 square feet of commercial space.
Okay. You know, as we all know, I mean, there were many neighborhoods affected by Hurricane Katrina and subsequent hurricanes after. But what do you think? What makes the Ninth Ward? Why is the Ninth Ward like this? And it has been this beacon for the city and for people outside of the city. I think to judge New Orleans. I mean, what makes this community? I don't want to say so special because I mean it is special and it's important as they all are. But why the Lower Ninth Ward, in your opinion? So much attention.
I think immediately following Katrina, the Lower Ninth Ward was featured on CNN, and I mean it's just ingrained in the country, not just the city, but in the country's minds as. It shows exactly what the city was facing, and I think, and you pointed out earlier, folks tend to judge the city's overall recovery, or certain folks will judge the city's overall recovery based on the recovery of the Lower Ninth Ward. So it's very important. It's always been important. It's a great area. It's a great neighborhood, beautiful housing stock, folks that have lived there for generations.
Yeah, many generations
right.
of homeowners.
Exactly, and so it should not be forgotten.
And these plans to redevelop it. I mean, in your eyes, will this only just enhance the neighborhood for those homeowners?
It's definitely going to be a catalyst for bringing in more investment to the Lower Ninth Ward. Right now, they don't have basic services like a grocery store or maybe, police and fire department, postal services. They don't have these kind of things. So, with this project, it'll be a great opportunity to be a seed for more development coming into the Lower Ninth. And being that we're proposing for sale and for rent, it's definitely going to help to increase the population in the Lower Ninth.
And I think that's important. I mean, if you're going to talk about redeveloping it with potential, retail or mixed income or moderate income housing apartment complex, you need to have services
Absolutely.
in place. Dry cleaners, a store at least. In your opinion, how do you think the recovery of the Ninth Ward has been up to this point since 2005, since Katrina hit?
I think if you drive through the Ninth Ward, while there has been a lot of work that's happened and many individual homeowners and residents as well as the nonprofit community has stepped up, but it's still hurting, and it's just driving through. If you've been in the Ninth Ward prior to the storm, you can see that it's not fully recovered, right. And there's a lot of room for improvement.
Do y'all have any figures on the percentage of the homes that may be blighted versus that are back? I don't mean to put you on the spot. But
well, based on what NORA has, there is over 3,000 blighted properties, and these homeowners have not came back since the storm. So that's a lot of properties to consider. The population was roughly over 17,000. Now it's less than 7,000. So that's a huge amount of people that didn't come back. Mm-hmm. So we definitely want to make sure that, not only do we bring in, the residents, but we want folks to come back and really enjoy and appreciate the beauty of the Lower Ninth Ward. You have access to, Bayou Bienvenue. You also have access to the Mississippi River. And these are some great qualities for the Lower Ninth, some very great qualities.
And it's nice to have you ladies to talk about these things, the positive things and the things that the Lower Ninth Ward offers, because we want it to be attractive to all of the people who are moving to the city. Right now there is an influx of young professionals that are moving to New Orleans now more than ever before. I mean, we were never that city. I've said it before on this station. We were the city. People would go to places like New York, Los Angeles, and those bigger markets, Chicago. But now, young professional people are finishing school, finishing up with their education, and they are moving to New Orleans. And it's not always been that way.
Sure, and we see that as an opportunity with this development to attract some of those people. But they're coming from cities like you said, New York and San Francisco. They're going to demand services. We're also making sure that the design and construction is sustainable, and that's important to younger folks oftentimes. The project will also allow for community access to green space. And overall, we just want to increase the availability of housing options for people interested in coming to New Orleans or relocating to the Lower Ninth Ward in particular.
Well, we have to take a short break. We will be back in just a few minutes. I am Samantha Bollier, and you're listening to the Community Bulletin Board on WBOK 1230 AM, sponsored by the Regional Transit Authority. We'll be back in a moment.
How much insurance is enough?
What kind of insurance should I purchase? What company should I choose?
To get answers to these questions, tune in each Monday from 2 to 3 p.m. to Insurance Concepts and Planning in the 21st Century. Brought to you by the Underwriters Group on WBOK 1230 AM, Real Talk for Real Time.
This is John Slade. How do you do? Co-host with Paul Boyer of Showtime in the Afternoon, inviting you to tune in on Monday, 3 to 6 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM. The issues of the day, both local, national, yes, even international as well. So tune in and enjoy the show on Showtime in the Afternoon, Monday, 3 to 6 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM. Real Talk for Real Times.
Hello, New Orleans. This is Leroy Jones Jr., host of Ask, Talk, and Listen. I'm inviting you to check out my show every Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. right here on WBOK New Orleans, 12:30 a.m. Y'all know I'll keep asking questions. I will let my guests talk, and we will all listen. So please keep checking me out now every Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. right here on WBOK AM, New Orleans, 12:30 a.m. or streaming on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230am.com and 24/7 365 at my site, politicaljones.com.
WBOK, Real Talk for Real Time.
Welcome back to the Community Bulletin Board. I am Samantha Bollier, and you are listening to WBOK 1230 AM. We're live in New Orleans on Monday, February the 24th, and we are here in the studio with Mary Alexander, Vice President of Business Development and Marketing for Perez Architects, and also Ms. Quan Smith, Development Project Manager for Perez Architect. And we are talking about plans for redeveloping the Holy Cross, what used to be the Holy Cross site in the Lower Ninth Ward. And during the break, ladies, we were talking a little bit about, how, it's important to have services and things of that nature for all of these young professionals that we are attracting or trying to attract to the city of New Orleans. But my question to you, and I think a lot of residents of the Lower Ninth Ward would want to know, is this being done at the expense of the residents? I mean, are people going to be put out of their homes for this development to happen?
Right. Absolutely not. The site that we're proposing this development on is the former Holy Cross School. So there was no housing on there. No one will be displaced from the existing site at all. Perez believes in doing good work and doing the right thing. So any development project that we approach, we want to make sure that it's a sustainable and an equitable development project.
And you all have done many projects in the past, so you've had this experience.
Absolutely. And we believe that this project will benefit the existing residents by creating vitality in the neighborhood. and improving the quality of life. We talked about bringing in much-needed services like grocery store and retail. There will be economic development opportunities that Quan spoke to a little while ago, job opportunities that are become available not just during construction, but post-construction for the operation of the site.
To sustain the community.
To sustain the community.
Absolutely.
So we see this as a positive contribution to that neighborhood.
That's a good point, and it's an important point. I think it's important to address for our residents of the Lower Ninth Ward. Mm-hmm. What has been some of the argument that you all have heard from the residents? I mean, why are they opposed? What have been the things that you've been hearing as to why they're opposed to this development or this redevelopment?
Well, one of the things that we've heard was, we're going to block the levees. Number one, we cannot legally block the levees. We don't own the levees. It's owned by the Army Corps of Engineers. So we can't block the levees. It's just not something that we can do.
So that's just misinformation.
Misinformation.
So if that's your argument, this development is going to block the levees. It can't happen.
It can't happen. And we do have access to the site. I mean, we do have, what they call amenities or open space amenities for the neighbors. I mean, they can have access to the site. We're not closing it off. We're not fencing it off. At one point, the school did have a fence around it, and they did close it off because it was private property.
Because it was a school.
It was a school. So now, we have specifically designed, open spaces for the neighbors because we want everybody to be able to come to the site and access the site. So
when you say open space, are you talking like a park?
Park. Yeah, we do have a half an acre for the park. We also have the oak trees that we are going to maintain and preserve. So basically, we are going to have an open market at that location so people can come in like a farmer's market, buy vegetables and fruit and, just a way to engage the neighbors. So.
Well, that sounds lovely.
Mm-hmm.
I know I was in the Lower Ninth Ward recently for an event at the there was the music in the musicians village, the new Marsalis building.
Mm-hmm.
The name is escaping me, the proper name of the building, but very lovely building, lovely site. There was a dance tribute, a concert or something, and it was packed. And to see all those people, they were willing to travel there for a show. And I thought, how outstanding if we could have had dinner after the show in the Lower Ninth Ward. Now, I know I'm dreaming maybe way far down the line, but
hopefully not that far.
Yeah.
Asking for an eatery, some sort of, restaurants and things of that nature. Because right now, are there any fast food places even in the Lower Nine?
No.
Not to my
Well, no, I take that back. We do have like Cafe Dauphine.
Right. Yes.
And we do have that restaurant, and it's really popular. So
is that the Lower Nine?
Yes.
Yes, that is the Lower Nine Ward. Okay.
So they do have restaurant. Well, I guess that would be considered one of the best.
I thought that was more the Bywater, but no.
That's actually in the Lower Nine.
Okay,
on Dauphine.
I stand to be corrected. On Dauphine, yes, the Lower Ninth Ward.
But one of the vendors that we are talking to, we don't have any firm commitments at this point, just because it's too early in the pre-development stage. But we are talking to a Smoothie King franchisee who's interested in putting a site on our development.
That would be good. Something healthy.
That would be great.
That would be great.
And we're hoping to attract other such vendors to the site. Maybe another restaurant, not necessarily a fast food chain, but they're welcome as well too if that's what the community is open to.
Perhaps a Subway.
But yeah,
we're thinking we have a lot of local, people who have bought the franchise here
but
locally.
We're thinking like coffee shops, sandwich shops, that type of thing would be great for that neighborhood.
So for people listening that would like to get more information on your plans, the plans that Perez Architects has, and if they want to provide input, will you let them know again how they may do that if they would like to comment or reach you, ladies?
Sure. They can go to www.reviveLOWER9, the number 9.com. We are continuing to post additional content as time goes on. If you have any questions or comments that you want to leave for us there, we will respond. We'll have a frequently asked questions page as well. So our intent is to be transparent about the project and to get the word out, but more importantly, to solicit input from the community.
That's important, and that's very. It's reassuring to hear that, because you hear stories of the big corporation, the enemy. They're coming in and they're going to force folks out. Because I think that's the first thing. I mean, I've heard that comment, but if it's going to come at the expense of the residents, why is this a good thing? But
and if I could say one other thing that I did not speak to. When I was talking about Perez's history in New Orleans, Perez is not the big bad giant. We are actually a small business, 100% woman and minority-owned business, and so we know how it feels to be stepped on. We have absolutely no intention, and never would, and never have operated in that regard. So
okay, so a woman, a female owns the company.
Yes, Angela O'Byrne.
That's excellent. I love it. Who run the world?
Girls.
I like that.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, ladies, for coming on and sharing your side, your perspective here in the Community Bulletin Board. This is a show where we like to highlight what's happening in and around the New Orleans area, neighborhood by neighborhood. And, I think there may be some folks from the Lower Ninth Ward that may come back and they would want to share their perspective, which may be different. But, I think the main thing here, the goal has been accomplished here, was just to get information out there. Because we don't want people to be misinformed.
Sure.
We want them to have the right information. So that website once again is www.reviveLOWER9 .com. So you can leave your comments. Well, I want to thank you, ladies, for coming
You're
on.
welcome.
Mary Alexander and Quan Smith.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are you ladies ready for Mardi Gras?
Yeah.
Are you all even aware? Are you guys just so deep into all this?
Very
You're
much
aware
aware.
that Mardi Gras is going on?
Do not be.
Sometimes we get wrapped up in
Right.
our work
Yeah.
that we don't realize that there are
you
parades
still have to
happening
have
out
fun.
there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It
Work
is.
hard, but we play hard.
Yeah, it is Mardi Gras, absolutely. Well, thank you, ladies, once again, young ladies from Perez Architects. And I want to thank each and every one of you out there for listening to the Community Bulletin Board. I want to thank Janae Pierre for holding it down on the board. I am Samantha Bollier, and I want to thank the RTA, Regional Transit Authority, for sponsoring the Community Bulletin Board here on WBOK 1230 AM. We'll see you next week.